good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Rich Clark, a guide to the right path. So for every Friday or every week, I talk about fears and phobias, the top 100 in the world. So as I've been talking about the negative mindset this week, I'm going to talk about the fear of failure. And this is number 15 at the top 100 phobias, and it's called Atychiphobia. So the normal amount of doubt regarding success in any project, self-business, relationships, or examinations is usually present in most people. However, when the fear of failure takes an extreme form, then it's termed as Atychiphobia or Atychiphobia. So Atychiphobia, there's also other names for it as well, which you can look up, and also Kakorrahaphobia, which also covers the fear of rejection. That will be something else I'll be talking about within depression and also things in the family, issues within the family and issues in relationships. So individuals coping with Atychiphobia mainly fear failure because they lack confidence in their abilities. Some people experience the extreme fear of failure because of the ridicule one might face owing to the failure. Likewise, some suffer from Atychiphobia due to the fear of risk-taking. Individuals coping with Atychiphobia often have rigid or unrealistic expectations or excessive standards of behaviour. Now, when I talked about negative mindset, there's also the all or nothing, catastrophizing, victimhood. These are all within the fear of failure. And the fear of failure is usually a conditioning which has happened since childhood. That's usually, I would say, about 80% of the clients who've got fear of failure, that is where it stems from. Now, to learn more about the symptoms and so forth, I'll explain some of the basics. So for future videos on fears and phobias, you can go to my YouTube channel and so forth to learn more. But however, I'm going to talk about some of the causes of the fear of failure. So Atychiphobia is often linked to the traumatic or embarrassing events in one's past. Strict or overly demanding parents or demeaning siblings or friends can also lead a child to suffer extreme fear of failure. And this is what I was saying, it's the conditioning part, and it's where so many people as adults go, why do I have this? Why do I have this fear? And it's all within conditioning. And usually strict, demanding parents, we can talk this within religious parents, disciplined parents, and so forth. And this happens in a lot of different communities. So the more of a community is stricter on their parents, sometimes it can be actually detrimental to them. So minor failures in one's childhood can cause embarrassment or ridicule. And the one thing is with children is they're very susceptible to this. So ridiculing or causing embarrassment to a child, it can be very detrimental. It may not seem, because people think, oh, to a child it doesn't mean, but it actually can affect them all their life unless they get therapy. So these lead to negative thoughts when undertaking other challenges. The fear of failure continues to grow and adds up as one matures, as I was saying. So add this to the fact that our culture and society have laid certain expectations regarding our looks, our relationships, our education, and in general, preset definitions and norms of failure and success. And we hear this a lot in our language as well. So we have people, some people say, oh, that upbringing, that's what it is. It was that type of upbringing. And it's not. There's a lot of that stuff causes major issues, and it leads into other fields of problems. It leads to issues of anxiety. It leads to a lot of issues to motivation, because the fear of motivation is that they don't succeed. Then we go into the negative mindset. And then also, if it isn't dealt with and people do fail and it actually overrides them, it becomes depression. So this is why it's an important post. So the persons with a fear of failure often give up trying unless they've been guaranteed or assured of perfection in certain tasks. And we know you can't always have perfection in certain tasks because you learn from different things to get to the point where you get to. Nobody is perfect. Some people are maybe, but they don't get perfection all the time. So the symptoms of Atychiphobia are the fear of failure. So Atychiphobia can severely affect the quality of life of the person suffering from it. One might even go to great lengths to avoid things that are unlikely to have a favourable ending. Many coping with fear of phobia, failure phobia, giving up trying completely, especially where relationships, education, or job-related projects are concerned. They believe in their minds that the outcome of most of these projects would be imperfect, not realizing that the perfection is merely an illusion. If we want to talk about perfection, the only thing is perfect is the actual entity what can create everything. As humans, we are imperfectly perfect. We are born to make mistakes. We will make mistakes. That's how we learn, and that's how we go into growth. So Atychiphobia causes these individuals to quit their jobs and relationships and avoid the failure therein. The fear of failure can also lead the person to sabotage their lives. They may take fake illnesses, make constant excuses and tell blatant lies. This is known to lead to demotions, unemployment, negative reviews, and divorces. So when we call people avoidance mindset is what they do is they avoid conflict. And they go into fear. There's fear and flight. And so most people go into the fear of that and they just fly away. They just can't handle it. They don't fight for what they want. And this is also the other thing as well, is when if people tell them they're great at everything, and then when they're in the real world and they've been brought up to be told they're great at everything, and when they don't get that, they have sulks, they have paddies, sort of things. They kind of get into these sort of temperament issues, and that's really difficult to work with people like that. So apart from the signs, people with Atychiphobia also experience several physical symptoms. They worrying thoughts regarding a given task and can lead to sleepless nights, anxiety, which I spoke about in another video about anxiety issues, tension, headaches, and muscle pain. So instead of focusing on the task of hand, the individual with Atychiphobia spends all their energy worrying about the failure. These physical symptoms of Atychiphobia include gastronomical distress, headaches, sweating, anxiety, and panic attacks, twitching, trembling, and irritability. So, as this sounds like for some people it's awful, what is the treatment of Atychiphobia? So I'm going to explain what I would do, but also what there is recommended. So Atychiphobia affects everyone. So the medication and drugs are usually the last line of treatment for this kind of phobia. This is because drugs merely mask the symptoms and do not tackle the problem from its root cause. So hypnotherapy, which I am a hypnotherapist, is recommended due to this phobia is deep-rooted into the subconscious. The subconscious, though is only 5% of the mind, controls 95% of the way the mind works and what actions you do. Talk therapy or psychotherapy and counselling can help the patient open up about their fears in order to come up with effective solutions to cope with the stress experienced on being given a task. And the most effective treatment for the fear of failure is self-motivation. If you want to know more about motivation and these ideas and the issues within that, please look at the videos on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and they talk about these different motivation types and so forth. So experts also recommend breaking a task into smaller and manageable pieces and doing more gradually. This helps patients realize that failure does not mean the end of the life. Rather, it's crucial for the growing process. And this is where we've got to get people out of the only thing of perfectionism, is the all or nothing or catastrophizing or victimhood. It's actually teach people that from their failures, they can learn, and then lessons help them grow into better people. That, I think, is very important going forward. And I think it's especially needed in social media, where people see the idealistic of someone being successful. Everybody who is successful has had failures before they get to success. That is just absolutely true. Nobody was born coming out successful. They may have had the privilege, they may have the luck, they may have the rights because someone's inherited that, but they also have to work hard at that. And they will have failures within that. So if the irrational fear of fear is affecting you or someone you know and is standing in the way of success, then it's time to regain control of your life. And within this, if you are interested to help yourself against the fear of failure, please go to my website at www.richclark.net and book for a discovery call. In this discovery call, we will talk about what your fear of failure is, what the issues you have, and then work out a program or a single session to help you with whatever that is. And we work that out from there on. So until next time, I shall speak to you soon.